When and how to use a sleep-wake clock. I've got 5 tips for you on this today. So number 1, what is it? What is a sleep-wake clock? Some of you may never have heard of such a thing. So let me explain. This is a kind of clock that lets a child know when it's time to be asleep and when it's time to be awake. There are various types out there. Some use colours and shapes or pictures or images, but basically it's a signal. It's telling your child it's time to be awake or it's time to be asleep. Instead of using a clock, sometimes you could use a light timer. You could have when the light timer times the light to go on, then it's time to wake up. So that's kind of a DIY version. Or if your child sleeps with a light on, it could be when the light goes out, it's time to wake up. So it's a signal, basically, it's a cue. So number 2, when do you use when do they actually understand this? Because a small baby isn't going to have a clue what's going on. The clock's going to mean nothing. From about 19 to 20 months, they can understand certain types of these clocks. So from about 19 to 20 months, if you start to show them, you introduce it, you point it out every bedtime, every morning time, then they will start to understand what that is. And it teaches them when to be asleep, when to be awake. It can help them with settling because they'll go, oh, okay, I need to go to sleep now, and then they're more inclined to understand what they're supposed to do. Resettling, if they understand it well enough, they may wake up and go, oh no, I'm not supposed to be awake yet, and settle back to sleep. And again, with early waking, if they wake too early for the day, they can go, oh, it's not time to be up yet, and back they go to sleep. So it has its purpose, and this can start to be introduced and learned from around 19, 20 months. 3, the different types of clocks. So I want to just explain this because some are easier to understand than others. There are some types out there where it will change, it will count down, or it will show you suns or stars. It's basically, there's types where there are shapes and colours that are signalling something. Now you and I would take one look and go, oh okay, yeah, that means it's daytime, that means it's nighttime. But that's quite a lot for a child to understand, and some of them are more complex than others. I suggest going for the most simple kind, keep it very black and white, very, this is day, this is night, quite simple. If they need to learn the shape and the colour means a thing, it's an added layer of understanding that they need. So the more visual clocks, where you literally have a picture of a character in bed and a picture of the same character up for the day, it's really easy to understand. It's visual, it's showing them, it's actually demonstrating what they're supposed to do. Tucked up in bed, up in the sunshine, it's really quite clear. So if you want to bring this in quite early, like the 19 to 20 month mark, then I would go for a more visual clock style. Number 4, it's really important to know that this is an aid, not a solution. You can't well, maybe you can, it's rare, but it's not likely that you can go, oh, my child just gets up all the time or is waking early in the morning every day. I'll just get one of these clocks and then they're miraculously going to just stay in bed and do what the clock says. If that happens for you, brilliant, but it's not likely. Usually it works as an aid. It's a signal, it's a cue, it's not the whole solution. Usually the solution goes a bit deeper. There may be other causes to the sleep disturbances that you need to identify. Perhaps they're overtired, perhaps the timing of their sleep is off, perhaps they're getting a variation of responses and they need that sorting out. So there could be a whole lot of other things going on, and just bringing in the clock may not be the wonderful answer and the solution on its own, but it can certainly help, and I often recommend them alongside my sleep plans if it's suitable for the child and the age and the plan. So just bear in mind, it's not a magic cure. It's not. If it were, I mean, we'd have just all got those and that would be it, and I wouldn't even have a company that helps families. So just bear that in mind. It's usually just an aid rather than the solution. And when you do have one, and this is my 5th tip for you about these, you need to abide by it 100%. So if you're going to introduce one, it it has to be for real. You have to go, this is the up time, this is the sleep time, and you stick to it. You can't say, oh no, it's not time to get up yet. Look, the clock says it's sleep time. And you say that at maybe 2 or 3 intervals, and then at the 5 o'clock in the morning interval you go, oh, let's just not mention the clock. Come on, get up, come into my bed, or let's just start the day or whatever. You've just ignored the clock. So how can you expect your child to do what the clock says if you're going to defy the clock? So it has to be gospel. It has to be, this is what we do what the clock says. There's no way around that. So yeah, if you're going to introduce one, abide by it 100%. There are so many other ways as well that you can work with a clock. You can incentivize, you can say, did you manage to stay in bed till the clock said it's time to get up? Amazing, here's a sticker. Or, you know, you can actually couple the clock with so many other features, and I use, as I said, use it as part of the plan in so many ways when I create plans. They are a really great thing. If you can't get one of the clocks, like I said, a simple timer switch for a light, for a lamp, can have the same impact. It's not as visual, it's not an image showing them what to do, so there will need to be you'll need to explain what that means, which will take a certain cognitive understanding, but the visual clocks from 19 to 20 months, stick to it like glue, and it will help you. At some point, it will serve you as your child grows. So that's when and how to use a sleep-wake clock.